product is Datamartist. Give you a little bit of context to start. One of the biggest problems a lot of companies have is getting data out of their transactional systems, transforming that data, combining it with other data, and then displaying it in some kind of meaningful way. The market for software that does that is about $9 billion last year, and that's 20% more than the year before. So as you can imagine, all the big players are interested in the market. 70% of that market is owned by 5 big players: SAP, SAS, Oracle, IBM, and of course, Microsoft.
Because I am all things Microsoft.
There you go. Amazingly, even with all the money that's being spent on this software, within businesses, the spreadsheet is still king. So Datamartist is aimed between the spreadsheet and the existing enterprise applications, and it's a way to quickly, dynamically transform data in a flexible environment. So the application is graphical. Basically, you draw blocks onto a data canvas, connect them together. By connecting blocks together, it defines a data transform set. If you click on what I've done already is inserted in some files from tables from SQL Server. There's lots of different databases you can pull the information out of. Clicking on the stubs of the blocks lets you look down into the data underneath. In this case, we're looking at a preview of about 5,000 rows out of 100,000. You can run in preview mode if you've got millions of rows underneath. We won't bother because this is a relatively small data set that I'm looking at. If we look at, I've got a customer data set here, and this is the one I'm going to do a couple examples on just to give you an idea on how the data transfer will be done. So here we've got a customer ID code, first name and last name. If we wanted to do some transformation, we'd add some more blocks. I'll bring a calculation block onto the canvas and connect that up. And then I can add a calculated column. All of the syntax for the calculations and the engine are all very spreadsheet based, so people who are familiar with Excel will find it very familiar. All sorts of different functions for parsing, etc. So now that we've put this in, we'll call it full name. We can see that we've now, with one step, we've added a column and put some more information into that data set. Now often you have data that's not in the main system and you need to pull it in and combine it. So the scenario I'm looking at is the sales department has decided that they want to segment their customers in an entirely new way. And of course it's not in the ERP system, and of course what they actually do is send you some Excel files. So I'm assuming they've sent me these 3 Excel files. I'll drag and drop them onto the Datamartist canvas. That'll pull those files in, give you the import blocks, and then we'll do a combine on those and create a combine block that'll consolidate that data set. And in this case, if we want to go in, maybe we'll add a field so we know where the data came from. So when we're looking at the data, we can see which the analyst sent us the information. Now we want to combine that data with the data that we got from our SQL server. So we'll pull that over here, get a join block out of the block library, connect that up. What the join block does is detects for common field names. In this case, it finds the customer ID. If that wasn't what we wanted to join on, we could do something different. And what it's showing us is that we've got some records that did join properly out of dataset 1 and dataset 2, and some that didn't. Obviously, we want all the records, so we're going to turn it from an inner to an outer join. And then we're probably going to want to take this data that didn't join and copy and paste it back into Excel and give that back to the sales guys because they need to give us the information for those. And this is a key part of what the environment's about. It's about being a scratch pad. So you can grab data from Excel as well, go back into Datamartist and paste it onto the canvas, and that gives you that data set. You can also, with data sets inside of Datamartist, pick records that you're interested in, and then turn those into internal data sets that you can then work with further. There are also a number of different tools for data profiling which can be used to look into the data quality. For example, if you want to just look at counts, you can see distributions of data. All throughout this, you can do drill down into the row level. You can look at things like data quality. If we're looking at field formats and a phone number, you can see that some of the formats are valid. The only difference being that there's some brackets or not, but then you can also see that some of the phone numbers are missing digits, and again, we have to look at it. I think I must be getting close to my time.
Almost right on the line.
Good. So I'd love to show you all the other blocks. We basically got filter, segmentation, summaries, some more advanced blocks that let us do star schemas, hierarchy, alternate drill down paths, and things like that. Fundamentally, it's a data scratch map. Thanks a lot.
How do I buy Datamartist if I want to buy it?
You go to the website, you download it, there's a 30-day trial. After that, you need to have a credit card.
And what am I looking at cost-wise?
It's $750 for a single license. It's really aimed at the business market, aimed at people doing data in companies.
How does that compare to what I paid for the Big Five?
Big Five, they don't really want to even come and sell unless they're looking at six figures.
They send David.
Yeah, you can buy, I mean, it depends on what kind of tool. Some of the tools, you know, there might be $1,500 a seat or something like that, but you have to have all the servers to do the rest. So it's really about, it can't do everything that the big guys are doing, but it's really about that space between Excel, which is just a spreadsheet, and the really heavy lifting stuff that's very expensive.
Windows desktop app.
Windows desktop app, .NET.
Okay.
I think it might be the first Windows desktop app that we've had.
Very,
Yeah, we
very,
got it.
it's very old school. Yeah. The business model is you buy it from them.
Okay. Questions?
Can you schedule jobs so that it runs as a little mini ETL?
It's a little ETL server. No, you know what? I've got a lot of people that keep asking me for that. It's not really meant to be an ETL thing, but yes, we'll.
You know, that's
This
not-
version doesn't do it. The next version, you'll be able to launch it from a command line, so you can run it.
That's the
From there.
$7,000.
Yeah, there'll be a different price. But we've got. I'm starting with the desktop app, but I've got all sorts of visions about where it's going on server side and web services and a lot of other stuff. Yeah, go ahead. No, sorry.
I'm pointing
You're
right
the
at you.
guy.
I have the microphone.
I'm guessing some of the operators, or most of the operators that do implement here are happening in the back end. Is that correct? Like, so
No.
like you're doing all the work on one client?
Yeah, no. In this one, it's all done on the client. So from a scalability point of view, you can do millions and millions of rows, but it takes longer because it's turning in the client right now. Yeah.
What happens in preview mode?
In preview mode, it's doing a subset. Mode is doing a subset. Yeah. So it's pulling a sample set of rows from the beginning of the data set. If it's a huge data set, it won't bother, sampling through the whole thing. So it takes rows.
Colin looks like he's about ready to come out of his chair.
I don't know what you're talking about. How many paying customers do you currently have?
Not enough.
What do you expect that? Yeah.
What's that?
What's your market?
The market basically, I mean, anything from a mid-sized company to a large company, it's the IT departments, right? Because this is a way for them to get data back to the users very quickly. That's my background. I used to be in the IT department and around the IT department. And we were swamped. We had all the big tools, but we were swamped all the time with people asking us for all sorts of different data sets. And the way we did it was we did a whole bunch of custom SQL and built a lot of side stuff. But even when you know SQL, the goal here is to have something that's still faster to do it this way, to get the data back out.
Do you have a non-profit?
One more question.
Do you have a non-profit license?
Yes, if you're a nonprofit, it's free.
One more question.
One more question. It's not the same class. How do you define a not-for-profit? Mr. Leonard.
Can you extend the data connectors to third-party apps that might have APIs?
There's no reason why not. Basically, the framework itself, and I've just made a certain number of connectors. So I've got SQL Server, MySQL, Oracle, LoadDBC, Access, Excel, text. But yeah, anything that is worth doing, I'd certainly do it.
Okay. A round of applause.